Hi, my name is Vanessa Young. I'm the owner of Lionelli Barber Supply here in Phoenix, Arizona. Also co-owner with Get Sassy Beauty Supply that's located in Chandler, Arizona. And today we're here just to talk about how we all came to be. Currently we are just trying to get the word out about our business, and I'm here to kind of tell my story, how we came to be. I've had some previous experience in banking. That's kind of my background, civil engineering. Both of those fields had nothing to do with beauty supply or barber supplies, but with the training that I got there, it kind of led us here. And we've been able as a family to continue our journey. The way we even came to have Get Sassy Beauty Supply, which is our store that we started originally, it was because I had recently, at that time, we had recently moved into the Phoenix metro area from California, and we were going to the beauty supply store that was located in the Phoenix area. And I had frequently gone there, me and my family, getting our hair care and hair care needs. And one day I needed to go in there after getting off work because I had an appointment for the following day to have a hair install. And unfortunately, I go in. I'm usually greeted by a young lady who was always there. She would greet me, we would have conversation, but this particular day she was not there. And there was another guy there, which, come to find out, he was the owner of the establishment. And he didn't greet me, but that didn't really bother me too much. I just went ahead and started looking for what I needed so that I could, carry on my evening. And he, at that point, was very close to me, and I didn't even realize he was behind me. He asked me what was I looking for, and I told him I was looking for some hair care products and hair products. And he indicated that I looked like I was going to steal something. Now, I'm only going to say this for reference. That particular day, I worked for a company, of course, that I had to go, in my words, suited and booted. So I had my suit on, I had my makeup to the max, my hair was laid. So I said all of that because he said that I looked like I was going to steal something. I was the only customer in the store at that time. He was the only other person in the store, so it was just the two of us. So I couldn't understand how I looked like I was going to steal anything. I had just walked in, he had his eyes on me, he was behind me. And so at that moment, I felt very violated, to say the least. I would have wanted to just jump up and scream, but for whatever reason, and I say it was God, my throat became closed. I could not get a word out. I felt a very big lump in my throat, and I was just unable to say anything. I felt a very sickening feeling in my stomach. And I thought, wow, I have got to get out of here. And so I turned around and started making my way to the door to exit the establishment. At that point, the young lady who usually works there, she was coming in the door. And she looked at my face, and by this time, tears are running down my eyes. And she says, "What's going on?" And I said, "You know what, I really can't talk right now." And I said, "I really don't use the words never, but I will never be back in this establishment again." And she wanted to get more information, but all I could think of, I need to get out of here. Now, the point I made about the dress that I had on, when he said I looked like, in my mind, I kept thinking later, if that's what it looks like for someone who thinks someone's going to steal something, what is the average person walking in there? And any other day I would have been in maybe some flip-flops, some shorts, t-shirt, hat, hoodie, whatever. What do those people get attacked with by the way they look by coming into a beauty supply store? And I had heard these stories before, but it had never happened to me. So I really had not understood what that was all about. But that day it became very clear what it was all about. once I got to the car, I did call my daughter, or actually she just happened to have called me, and she heard me crying. She's like, well, Mom, what's wrong? And I said, right now I can't talk, let me give you a call back later. And she said, no, what's going on? And I said, well, I just had an experience at this beauty supply store and my feelings are very hurt. And her response to me was, well, what are you going to do about it? And this particular daughter, she's an instructor, a school instructor, and I think that's just her nature. And so she kind of hung up on me, leaving me kind of baffled why she did not play into my pain at that moment. And on my way home, she, I guess, thought about it. She called me back and she wanted to know what had happened. I gave her the details and she said, so what are you going to do about it? And once again, she kind of hung up. And I thought, wow, why is she treating me like this? I'm really hurting. And she doesn't seem to have any empathy for me. And the next day I was at my job and unfortunately did not get my hair, so I had to cancel my appointment. And I'm at my job and I'm talking to the office manager at that time, and I told her the story. And again, right about the time I'm telling the story to the office manager, my daughter calls me and she's now talking to her. She said, well, I just kind of want to know what you're going to do. I'm thinking you should probably open up your own beauty supply store. And again, she hangs up on me. But also during this time, the office manager that was there, she heard the conversation and she said, I think that would be great, And I said, oh no, I just wouldn't feel right doing that. And she said, well, maybe there's a need. So all of these words from the office manager, my daughter indicating that, there should be something done. I got to thinking about it and we called a meeting. Actually, my daughter called the meeting together and it was like, what can we do as a family? And we came together, we met up indicating, oh, maybe this is something we can, we were actually planning for something to be done 3 to 5 years down the line. So we came together, meeting of the minds, had a conversation, kind of laid out. My daughter had already put together a little bit of a business plan. My son-in-law, he came together with some of the things that we would need to get together as far as TIN numbers, and then we needed to come up with a name, of course. So we went through the process of what we thought we would need to do, still just kind of thinking this is going to be 3 to 5 years down the line. Well, as it would be, God is always in the mix, and I lost my job probably about 4 or 5 months after all of this. I laid there, I cried. I was like, what am I going to do? I cried for about 2 days, and it was a Sunday morning. I was getting ready to go to church. Now, in the meantime, between time, we were still making moves. We were getting the TIN numbers. We had gotten the names. We had even started looking for property. So we were doing a whole lot of things. Even though we thought this was 3 to 5 years, we were almost acting as if it was happening right now. And we had all this information. I had even called other stores in other states. There were Black-owned beauty supply stores, and they were nice enough to speak with me. And I had made notes. I had a book full of information. We had contacted vendors. My other daughter was living in Florida at that time. She had contacted some vendors there in Florida. So we had a lot of stuff going on. And this particular Sunday morning, I get up, I'm getting dressed, and all of a sudden, I hear a voice that says, you're ready. And it was very clear. There was no one else in the house with me at that time. And I thought, I'm ready. And I looked around and I, of course, knew that this was just a voice from God. And I looked at my nightstand and I had my book where we had been collecting all this information, all this data. I had it all written down. I picked up the book, I looked in it, and I thought, wow, we are ready. And I went to church with a very elated heart and full of promise, full of hope. And even the message that day was about getting out of our own way. And I thought, wow, what an amazing morning I'm having. And then I got so elated that from that point, we are where we are now as a beauty supply store and a barber supply store, my Nettie's Barber Supply and Get Sassy Beauty Supply. And I thank God for all the vendors that we have made contact with and who have serviced us. I am more elated about all the customers that have become our biggest fan base and their loyalty to us. And we pray and trust that we have gone above and beyond, treating them as humans when they come through our doors and welcoming them and making them feel very comfortable in our stores. Thank you everyone for watching. I appreciate your continued support in business. Thank you for visiting us at Get Sassy Beauty Supply, located in Chandler, Arizona, and Lionetti's Clipper Service, located here in the Phoenix area. Bye.